Loyalty still means something in this country. Henry Collins was a 72-year-old farmer in a small Georgia town, watching everything he'd built crumble under pressure from wealthy developers. After 5 decades of quietly supporting the military, his final notice sign caught the attention of someone powerful, and within 24 hours, everything began to change. Henry had worked the same 1,000-acre stretch of land in Monroe County for his entire life. Unlike modern industrial farms, Collins Acres was a humble family operation with a legacy rooted in community service. Every week for the past 30 years, Henry maintained a special landing zone in his southern field. Just like his father did during the Vietnam War, he kept the field open and prepped for military helicopters that flew in from Fort Hastings, 2 states away. People in town all knew Collins Acres. When young pilots needed night landing practice, Henry stayed up late setting out markers in the dark, while his wife, June, brewed coffee and made sandwiches for the crews between long sessions. "You can't expect our boys to train on empty stomachs," she'd always say with a proud smile. Even during the busiest harvest seasons, Henry cleared that field, knowing military readiness came before crops. For 40 years, he never once asked for anything in return, and he never caused trouble for the county. But everything changed the day a Silicon Valley developer named Nexagrid bought up the surrounding land. They didn't care about training zones or military needs. They only saw prime real estate for their massive tech campus. Henry's farm was right in the middle of it. "We're offering you above market value," the agents told him. But Henry didn't care about the money. You can't price 5 decades of commitment to your country. This wasn't just land. It was a training ground that had helped shape pilots who went on to serve in conflicts from Desert Storm to the present. And now it was on the chopping block. Henry sat at his kitchen table, staring at the final eviction notice. He never felt so powerless. His father had maintained these fields during the Cold War. His grandfather had first offered the land to the military during World War II. Now, zoning laws and unchecked greed were about to destroy what even war never could. One by one, the neighboring farms gave in. The Morgan Place down the road, where helicopter crews once rested between exercises, was already under construction. The Thompsons had sold their emergency landing field just a month earlier. Every evening, Henry and June sat at the same table, sorting through stacks of developer offers. "I don't understand it," he'd whisper. "We've helped train pilots for 50 years. How can they just erase that?" June would take his hand, both of them remembering all those young men and women they'd supported. Those freezing nights, the smell of engine oil, the warm sandwiches, the laughter between drills. But they both knew their time was running out. That afternoon, with trembling hands, Henry hammered a sign into the ground. "Notice, military training zone closing. Collins Acres, serving our troops since 1943. And beneath it, in smaller letters, "Thank you for 50 years of service to our country." He didn't even tell the military. He just kept maintaining the field like always. But folks in town could tell something was wrong. His proud stance had slouched. His voice cracked when he radioed incoming coordinates. A young reporter stopped by to take photos. She asked about the farm's history, what it meant to the military. Henry shared everything. How his grandfather let pilots land during World War II. How his father kept the field open during Korea and Vietnam. He didn't expect much, maybe a short article buried under local news. But that photo and that sign touched hearts in ways Henry never imagined. Soon, the story spread through military circles. 5 decades of pilot training ground. Gone like that, one post read. Veterans, active pilots, and even commanders began to share stories. Some remembered night drills at Collins Acres. Others recalled June's coffee. Everyone felt the loss. And then, just when Henry thought no one would come, his landline rang. He answered it with a sigh. His daughter had begged him to get a cell phone, but he always said the old one worked just fine. "Mr. Collins?" A voice asked. "Please hold for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs." Henry froze. He almost dropped the receiver. Henry stood there, heart pounding in his chest. A second voice came through the line, calm and commanding. "Mr. Collins, this is General Avery, chairman of the Joint Chiefs. I read the story about your farm. I'd like to hear it from you." And for the next 20 minutes, Henry did just that. He talked about service, not politics, just pure service. About staying up late, guiding helicopters with nothing but lanterns and hope. About watching fresh-faced recruits grow into elite aviators. About honoring his father's footsteps and his grandfather's before him. When he finished, the chairman's voice was steady but firm. "Mr. Collins, we can't afford to lose training grounds like yours. Give me 24 hours. Henry could barely hold the phone. His hands were trembling. For the first time in months, there was hope. He rushed into the kitchen, calling out, "June, you're not going to believe who just called." June came running, her apron still dusted with flour. "What is it?" Henry stared at her, eyes wide with disbelief. It was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He saw our story. He wants to help save the farm. June dropped the coffee mug she'd been holding and burst into tears. After all those sleepless nights, someone finally understood. The very next morning, just as Henry finished feeding the hens, the sound of rotor blades filled the sky. An Apache appeared first, followed by 3 Blackhawks. As they landed in his training field, Henry saw the markings. They were Pentagon aircraft. 2 generals stepped out, carrying briefcases. "Mr. Collins," one of them said, showing identification, "we're here to ensure your farm stays right where it is, serving the United States military." For the next hour, they sat at the Collins kitchen table, with June pouring coffee as if it were any other day. The generals explained everything. Collins Acres would be officially designated as a protected military training site. Developers couldn't touch it. The government would lease the landing zones, giving Henry and June a steady income and preserving the legacy. "Sign here," one general said, tapping the bottom of the document. "This ensures your farm continues serving our forces for generations." Henry's hand shook as he signed. He couldn't believe it. As they packed up, the general paused. "The chairman asked us to tell you something," he said. "He said to remind you, some things are worth more than money. Supporting our military is one of them." That same day, the generals made another stop, Nexagrid's corporate offices. The developers' faces went pale as the military officials walked in, flanked by legal counsel and sealed orders. "But our development plans," one executive started to argue, "have been superseded," the general cut in, "by national security interests." And just like that, the tide turned. Not only was Collins Acres saved, but one by one, nearby farms were also contacted. The Morgans? Their rest zone would remain untouched. The Thompsons? Their emergency field was now federally protected. A whole network of military training lands saved. Today, Collins Acres still thrives. Henry, now joined by his grandson Eli, continues to maintain the landing zones. The training schedule is busier than ever, and June, well, she never lets a helicopter crew go hungry. Henry still stays up for night drills, just like he always did, whispering the same words he's said for decades. "Can't expect our boys to learn in daylight only." That closing notice sign, it now hangs in the barn, a reminder of what almost was. When people ask Henry about the day the chairman called, he just smiles and changes the subject. He'd rather show them the upgraded landing lights or wave at the next Blackhawk coming in for practice. What happened at Collins Acres wasn't just about saving one man's land. It was about honoring a tradition of service that's worth more than any price tag. Because while developers saw dollar signs, The military saw what Henry had known all along. Some traditions are sacred, and some people still believe in loyalty. Love stories like this? Hit that like button, subscribe to Comeback Tales, and ring the bell so you never miss a story about everyday heroes, second chances, and the people who still do the right thing. There's another inspiring story waiting for you on the screen right now. Check it out next. We'll see you in the next one.